Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Big issue that came out last week, of course, was same-sex marriage and what the status is of foreign couples who came here to Canada to get married. So where does that stand now?
Yeah, we're having a look at the bill. It wasn't brought in by my government, but we're having a look at the situation where people have gone through and become married and then find that they can't divorce because they don't meet the residency requirements. So we're looking at a couple of technical amendments. We're not reopening the whole subject of same-sex marriage, but there's some gaps in the law that have come to light, and so we're going to have a look at those and introduce some amendments.
How come it came to this? Because it has been a long time. It was introduced by the Liberals, and that was a while ago when they were in power, but you know, it affects about 5,000 marriages between foreigners. How did it come to this point?
I think, you know, this past year is the first time some of these issues have been litigated, and it's always been the law that you had to be a resident of Canada for a year to file under the Divorce Act, and you have a situation where people came here and, to get married, and they've returned to, you know, their jurisdiction, and now they want a dissolution of the marriage, and so they don't come within the ambit of Canadian legislation at the moment, and so we're going to have a look at it and introduce some amendments.
So, but bottom line is, are they married?
Well, in the eyes of Canadians, they are. I mean, that was the decision that was made about 6 years ago now.
Okay. Well, the roundtable that you had with, I know you mentioned Vancouver Police Chief Jim Chu was there and some others, and you were talking to them, I imagine, primarily about the omnibus crime bill that was brought in
I do these across Canada, and they've been very helpful over the years. I've been a Justice Minister for a little over 5 years, and so I like to get people's input as to what we're doing and what we may be doing, or perhaps what we should be doing. But certainly we discussed the crime bill that we have before Parliament, and the bill goes after drug traffickers and those who sexually exploit children. Those are major components of that, and I said to them, I'm very appreciative of the support that they have given over the years. Chief Chu has been a very positive influence in terms of encouraging new legislation, updating our legislation, and so these have been very helpful to me.
There's heavy emphasis on punishment in dealing with some of these crimes. There's concerns about the prison system, already overcrowded. It's going to be even more taxed with more inmates coming in. What's that going to cost?
The bill
Building
itself,
infrastructure.
the bill is very targeted. I mean, it goes after drug traffickers, and unlike, contrary to what some of my critics said, that it's going after people who are possessing marijuana, it doesn't. I mean, it goes after the most serious offenders, and so it's very targeted, and it's targeted as well against those individuals who sexually exploit children or into the business of producing and distributing child pornography. And so there is a cost if you don't do anything about these people, or you keep them out on the street. So I've had victims right across this country tell me that they pay the greatest price when it comes to crime in this country. And so the bill is very targeted and very responsive.
The numbers do show that crime is going down rather than up. So what is the
Well, it actually is not going down when it comes to drug crimes. Drug crimes are up in this country, and crimes associated with child pornography and exploitation of children is going up. And so we don't govern on the basis of statistics, but for those people who do raise that with me, I say to them, well, then you must be quite pleased then, because we are responding to that, because they have been going up, and that is a major target of what this bill's all about.
Just in practical terms, though, BC has a fairly taxed system as it is when it comes to the courts.
Yes.
Many cases are being thrown out because they just wait too long to get to trial. So I'm sure your critics have said to you as well that this will just place a further burden, whether it be financial or in terms of
We've been
resources.
responding to what British Columbia wants. I mean, they were one of the provinces that pushed us to get rid of the 2-for-1 credit, where people were getting 2-for-1 credit while they were in provincial remand centers. They tell me this was clogging up their courts, and it was a huge burden on provincial resources. And so I was very pleased on behalf of the Government of Canada to put through a bill that gets rid of that, the 2 or sometimes 3-for-1 credit. So, you know, we're very aware of that. The bill targets drug prosecutions, which is a federal responsibility. And again, these have been discussed over the years with my provincial counterparts, and we provide more money every year to the provinces. The $2.4 billion was the increase in the past year to the provinces, and so we do our best to help them out, but it's their responsibility, of course, for the most part, to administer the justice system.
All right, thanks very much. We're right out of time. Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.